A lot of sports getting going. I know men's tennis got started, women's tennis competing. We've mentioned women's basketball, wrestling, Adam, gymnastics. What all's been going on out there?
8 sports in this Olympic sports
Wow.
update. That's without factoring in baseball, which had their first pitch dinner. Kyle Seager was the speaker, did a great job.
And the lacrosses haven't started yet, but they're like within a month of starting. Softball starts soon.
Carve out more time in your schedule for
Yeah.
the Olympic sports updates in the next month or so.
That's right.
Right now, women's basketball, we told you, won 75-58 at Pitt. Good week for the Tar Heels because they also won at SMU, so they go on the road and get 2 wins. We told you about India's big game. Also, Lexi Donarski had 5 3-pointers for the second straight game. Brownies for everyone.
Yeah.
I bet Lexi's grandmother was so happy.
Yeah. Those brownies have been baked extra quickly recently.
Tar Heels as a whole made 13 threes against Pitt. Great day from the outside. Great day from the outside. And Carolina out-rebounded Pitt by 28. My sources tell me, however, Courtney Banghart thinks her team can do better than they did on Sunday and told the team as such afterwards. So Tar Heels not satisfied, even though they're 17-3 overall, 5-2 in the league. They're 3-0 on the road in the ACC for the first time since the 2014 season, over a decade.
Adam, while you continue, I'm going to open up the women's basketball schedule. I just want to know long-term. So tell us short-term. Do you have short-term? Who's up next for the Tar Heels?
Short-term, the Heels at home against Wake on Thursday at 7, and then at home against Florida State Sunday at noon. Then they go on the California trip.
So I'm just looking on, in addition to that, who else does Carolina still play? They've got NC State.
Good team.
And they only play State once this year.
Yeah, it's weird.
That seems like a mistake. I mean, we knew this was coming. I remember we talked about this at some point in time because they only play 18 in women's basketball. Is that right?
I think that's right.
And so you're only going to play one team twice, and, of course, it's going to be Duke for Carolina. So they play State. That's February 16th. State's good. They play Duke again. Virginia's better, right?
Yeah.
They still play them. Florida State, good, normally.
Think so.
I'm going to check. They've already played Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, who are both very good this year.
Right.
So,
and they have their other losses to UConn. So the 3 losses are against very good Final Four type contender teams, and other than that, they've cleaned house. So Tar Heels in good position right now. Men's tennis opened their season with a sweep of James Madison. 5 singles wins from newcomers. That's good because the roster only has 3 returning letter winners with college experience. Sam
Wow.
Paul breaking in some new faces over there. And they'll go to the ITA regional kickoff weekend in Winston-Salem this weekend. It's a grudge match. Heels against Memphis Friday at 2. Memphis eliminated Carolina in the NCAA tournament last year. Women's tennis also got a sweep. It was of Gardner-Webb. That was on Saturday. Big match after press time. Carolina's ranked number 6 nationally. They go to Virginia in a non-conference match on Monday afternoon. So that outcome has been decided. We don't know it yet, but that's a big one. But don't get confused. It's not a conference match. And then they go to ITA weekend, which will be in Chapel Hill, and they'll face Alabama at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Wrestling just put an absolute beat down on Duke on Friday, 40-3. 24th straight win for Carolina in Durham. That goes back to 1973.
yo.
Carolina hasn't lost in Durham since I've been alive.
Yeah.
The Tar Heels have won 48 of the last 50 dual meets against Duke.
Wow.
The wrestling victory bell has permanent residence in Chapel Hill.
Holy cow.
Tar Heels are ranked number 19 nationally. They've got the North Carolina Open on January 26th, but the next dual meet is a big one. It's January 31st at home against number 6 in the country, NC State. That'll be a big one.
Yep, that's a good one.
If you're going to come to a wrestling meet, that's one you need to circle on your calendar. I bet Dennis Goss is going. By the way, he's been to over 100 events this year. Saw him on Saturday. Now,
I believe that was number 100 for Dennis.
yeah, he's altered his goal for this.
He probably went to women were in Pittsburgh, so don't know what he did on Sunday, if anything.
He's altered his goal to now be 150 for this sports season.
Shoot for the stars. Go to 200, Dennis.
Well, think about all those baseball games. Like, you can pick up some events in the midweek.
Yeah, and softball has a bunch of games. You can pick up the numbers. Why? I mean, if you want to just go for 150, whatever. I mean, I personally, if I was doing it, I would go for 200. But that's up to you, Dennis.
I wonder if Dennis will shoot for 200 next year and then maybe try to hit it even harder in the fall.
Have to lay out you'd have to lay out a full schedule.
And what's the criteria? Do you have to be there for the whole thing, or do you just have to see like a set, or how does it work?
I don't know. Is Dennis retired? I would think that if you had a job, that would be hard too. Maybe Dennis is retired. I don't know.
Maybe his job is supporting the Tar
maybe
Heels.
his job is the Tar Heels.
Yeah. And business is good.
Let's come back to women's basketball real fast. So Notre Dame's in first right now in the league, 7-0. Then Duke and State are both 6-1. The only loss Duke has is to Carolina in conference play. Louisville, forgot about Louisville. Jeff Waltz, good coach. They're 6-2, although they're 13-6 overall. Adam, a little bit surprisingly, it's Cal that's had the better year of the West Coast teams.
Cal's ranked, I think.
They are 17-3 overall and 5-2, exact same record as Carolina. So that'll be a big game. So Notre Dame 7-1, Duke, NC State 6-1, or excuse me, Notre Dame 7-0, Duke, NC State 6-1, Louisville 6-2, Cal, Carolina, Florida State 5-2. So, and then Georgia Tech, who's had a good year, but 4-3. All their losses are in conference play, but they're 4-3 in conference play, 16-3 overall. So, those the top group right now in the league.
You saying that reminded me that longtime Stanford women's coach Tara Vanderveer was at the game on Saturday. And I thought it was really cool that Roy Williams took the time to come over there and talk to her. Like, he sits on the other side of the arena from where she was. And so he moseyed through the concourse, which I'm guessing is not easy if you're Roy Williams, and came over just to say hello to her and greet her and welcome her to Chapel Hill. Number one, I thought it was cool that she came, which shows you what that trip meant to Stanford, which, P.S., they asked for the game ball after the game. So it meant a lot to them. But they got the win.
Well, they had never beaten Carolina before either.
Right.
They were 0-13.
So cool that –
Adam, are you just trying to get me angry?
Cool that she made that trip, but also cool that Coach Williams took the time to welcome her and be sort of that ACC/Chapel Hill ambassador. Gymnastics team.
Yep.
They had their home opener on Friday, beat George Washington. Lali Dekanoidze won bars. She always wins bars. Kaya Forbes won floor. Julia Noer.
She had a great floor routine, Kaya Forbes. I watched this meet. She was really great on the floor. Tar Heels were very good in vault and floor in this particular meet. They weren't as good on beam as they were at Alabama, where they had the fifth highest score in the country after the first week on beam. Had a couple. Gwen Fink, who's normally very good on beam, didn't have a great routine this particular week. They scored higher than they did in the first meet. Pitt and Clemson faced each other. Carolina had a higher score than both of them from that meet. I tell you what, the Tar Heels have a couple of freshmen who are really good, too, on gymnastics. The Gym Heels have some youth on there. They've got a nice squad. They're not a finished product just yet, but they've got a nice squad. That floor routine by Kaya Forbes was impressive. I'm just telling you, it was impressive.
Y'all all see how I did that. I just keep that in mind. If you ever encounter Jones in the wild, if he's in a bit of a sour mood, you're like, what about those gym heels, Jones? Yeah. And 5 minutes later, you're good.
Yeah. We had some Angel family representation at the meet. I was not personally there, but I watched it. Matt Krause on the call for the meet. And it was a nice, solid win against the Revolutionaries of George Washington. 195-8, the team score, is that right? Somewhere in that range? So, solid growth from the first meet. I like this team.
And you'll get a chance to see them again on Friday back in Carmichael.
Who are they facing?
Big one, the Wolfpack. The Gym Pack.
That is a big one. Early in the year for them to be facing each other, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's on Friday. Where's Carolina this weekend? It's at home.
At home against Boston College. Tip-off club. Make your plans now.
On the CW again.
Yeah.
Do you like how I found that CW stuff for the last show?
Yeah. I went back and watched the CW broadcast. I agree with you. I don't mind it. Mike Jaminski, at least he talks about the game. And Tom Brenneman, whose dad was on the pod.
Yep.
What other criteria do I need? Fencing, Jones.
What a weekend for fencing.
Big wins for fencing, just
Matt Jednak has his team rolling.
taking out everybody. They go up to the Philadelphia Invitational. The women beat number 4 Princeton on Friday, and then on Friday the men beat number 14 Johns Hopkins and number 15 Cal San Diego. How are they good at fencing? But they are the Toros or whatever they are.
Is that different from just San Diego? Or is that something?
Number 15, Jones,
Okay.
and Carolina beat them. That's the important part of the story. Then on Saturday, got wins over number 15, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Probably tried to outsmart you, but they couldn't. And number 13, Sacred Heart. That's a great weekend for fencing.
Yeah, are they low-key kind of good?
I think the women beat number 4 in the country, and the men beat a whole bunch of ranked teams.
I like
So
Matt
I would say
I like Matt
yes.
Jednak.
Great interview on the pod.
Was a good interview.
All right. Track and field. At home for the Dick Taylor Invitational. 110 events on Saturday. Thomas Kitchell got third all time in the men's shot put, 18.87 meters. That seems like that's far for the shot put.
I don't know how far a meter is, but yes.
Third most all time for Carolina. And then swimming and diving, both lost at NC State. But
These were competitive, though.
yeah,
I mean, State and Virginia have been the best two in swimming here over the last several years. Carolina's not there yet, but it's making up ground. That's another program that has done a nice job kind of quietly just building and getting better.
Tar Heels did set 3 school records, and Ben Delmar had 2 of them, the 100 breast and the 200 breast. And diving, I don't think people understand how crazy this is. Aranza Vasquez and her brother Rodolfo Vasquez swept all the diving.
We should get when we have our annual discussion with Aranza after she wins some impressive championship again. We need them both in here.
Yeah.
Don't you think? It'll be our first brother-sister, I think, pod interview.
That'd be good.
It would be good.
Okay, we'll do that. So they won both the 1 meter and 3 meter men's and women's, as they do most every meet. So great weekend for the Tar Heels.